What's up, guys? We're back on the boat, and this is actually 2 weeks after I posted the one where the boat wouldn't run dry. And there's a reason for that. I started filming last weekend's video, and I was so bummed out about some events that happened that I just I sat down and started editing video, and I noticed just how out of it I was. I wasn't excited. I wasn't motivated to work on it. So all I really did last weekend was finish up the front steering, and I started fiddling with my throttle cables a little bit, which is today's project. But what happened was I dropped the boat off the trailer. It didn't run dry. So I figured, hey, I'm not gonna be able to get this big heavy boat up with just two people back on the trailer. So I went and got our tractor, lined everything up with the bucket of the tractor, pushed the bow of the boat over to the trailer. Everything went fine. Well, I went to push the back of the boat. I got off the tractor, looked at everything. I cleared the rudders. Everything was good. Well, what happened was, so I started pushing on the very bottom down here underneath that lip. Everything went great till the boat got up at an angle. I didn't catch it, and when I went to back out, the hook on the bucket of our tractor caught the rigging right here, and didn't hear nothing. And when I went to back out from behind the boat, because the winch was the winch on the trailer was able to pull it up after that, that hook caught and pulled all that rigging out. I mean, it broke all kinds of stuff on that side of the boat. Luckily, it was just that side of the boat. It didn't affect anything else on the rigging on the right hand the right hand side of the boat. So I spent all day Saturday pulling that back in, getting it all lined up, and then I braced up everything that broke. It's solid now. It is functional now, and it'll get me through the season. So with that being said, I was so bummed out about that. I was so mad at myself about it. I know mistakes happen, but that was something that shouldn't have happened. After everything went so smoothly, I guess I was overdue for something bad to happen. But I've decided the busted up side of the cage, I've decided that I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm gonna fish with it through this year, and hopefully next year I'm gonna build a new cage for this boat. I wanna build one out of aluminum. This cage is built out of EMT conduit, that's it. So it bends real easy, it works, but for what I'm gonna do, I want something a little more sturdy and lighter. So I think that's gonna be my plan for next year. I'm just gonna get through this year with this one, and just hopefully it holds up to tree limbs and stuff like that. Luckily there wasn't too much damage. All that EMT just bent out. I hooked ratchet straps up to it, pulled it all back in, and I spent all day that Saturday lining all that back up. Me and my dad is a whiz with that kind of stuff. So that's what we did. It works. Everything is still functional. So then from there, I went and started on my front controls, like my start and kill and all that. I got all that wired up, and that's all I did last weekend. And the tone of the video was just so, I didn't want to post it because I wasn't proud of it. And I wasn't even going to tell y'all this, but to be fully transparent, I mean, I don't have anything to hide. It's my boat. I messed it up, and I had to fix it. So today's plan, the boat is probably 90% complete. I've been saving all this stuff for last. So today I have to hook my throttle cables up. I ran into a problem there, and I'm going to show y'all how I'm going to fix it, because it's all in the throttle bracket. This throttle bracket was homemade. And when I took it all apart, it didn't go back the way, oh, come on, focus now. It didn't go back the way it was. So now when I hook everything up, my front throttle is very stiff. If you notice in the video, I kept having to pull the pedal up with my foot. I don't like that. I don't want cruise control on an airboat. So I have got to figure out how to get that freed up, because I had like 4 springs hooked to it, and it was still not pulling my pedal back to an idle. and I don't want to run into a situation where my pedal's stuck full open throttle and I can't get it back up. So that is today's plan. I've got a kind of a general idea of how I'm going to do this, and I'll show y'all the problem I'm running into with this throttle cable. It should be pretty simple. So stick around and let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, so the problem I'm having with this throttle bracket, and I've got to move these lines out of the way. So this right here is the the throttle cable for my foot pedal. So this goes to the captain's chair here. This one's free. This one works fine. This red cable, and I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see. This red cable mounted right here with a U-bolt on top. So when it was mounted on top, I was having to push this cable down to my linkage on the carburetor, and I think that's just putting this cable in too much of a bind. So what I'm gonna do is pop that bracket off and reroute this cable down to the side in line with this other throttle cable and see if that doesn't make a difference, because it just, in my mind, it'd have to, because this cable needs to sit right here in order for the cable end to reach the linkage. So I'm hoping if I just get that cable straight enough, it'd free it up some. If not, it's gonna have to be the cable, because there's no kinks in it, there's no big loops or anything like that for this cable to be as stiff as it is. And it's not bad, but it's definitely stiffer than the original. So I'm fixing to pop this bracket off, and I'll put you on the tripod and show y'all my plan. Okay guys, so I've got this bracket pulled off, and as you can see, it is, it'll focus, it's pretty rough. Whoever welded this either did it with like some flux core or didn't turn their gas on, or I don't know, but it's rough. Anyway, that old cable bolted to the top, so it went on the top, and then you had to push the cable end down, and I think from it just sitting here and being pushed down had everything in a bind. So what I'm gonna do is cut this ugly thing off, weld it to the side where the cable will be directly in line with this hole where the old cable mounted to, or the original cable mounted to, and hopefully that'll free up the push-pull end of things, because it's pretty stiff. But the cable is free. I unhooked everything, and I moved the cable up front, and it's a little tight, but it's not bad. The spring should be able to pull it back. So I'm gonna cut all this crap off, weld me another piece on, drill me 2 more holes, and kind of clean this up a little bit, because that is just rough. So that's the plan. Okay, so I've got my new throttle bracket done. I'm gonna give it a second for the paint to dry after I just kicked it all the way across the floor, trying to paint it. But I've got a few other little things today. I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm only gonna be here a couple hours. I've got a few things I gotta test. The voltmeter that came with my gauges, it worked for about 2 minutes out of the box and fried. And I know I've got everything hooked up right. The LEDs on it aren't even coming on, so I don't know what's going on with that. So as soon as my I can't talk. As soon as my throttle bracket is back on, I'm gonna start the boat, go around everything with a multimeter, make sure my alternator is working right, I've got a new volt gauge coming. Contacted the guy I bought it from, said, hey, this thing didn't work. He said, hey, no problem. Sent me another one. It should be here today. But all I have left after I get my throttle, why is that so hard to say? After I get my throttle bracket hooked up, is tuning the motor. Now, ever since I bought this boat, I have been chasing a backfire at the carburetor relentlessly. I'm no gearhead. I don't know how to troubleshoot this stuff, but all the research I've done is telling me it's either timing, ignition, or fuel. I have replaced the distributor cap, so the rotor and all that is new. I've replaced plug wires, I've replaced plugs. I have, what else? Oh, I replaced fuel line too. But I'm still getting that pop. If you heard it in the last video, a few of you pointed it out saying, hey, that's not good, you need to check that. So where I'm at now is I need to check the timing. I need to check my carburetor. I bought a vacuum gauge to make sure my idle screws are right. I got to get up there and figure that kind of stuff out. Boat runs good. It's that initial pop as soon as I get down on the gas. It's like it's almost just not getting enough fuel. And I have traced my fuel lines and I have found a kink. I'm gonna pull that kink out and see if it still does it, and adjust my fuel regulator, because I've had it just wide open, and reading on Edelbrock's stuff that these carburetors have to have a maximum of like 5.5 to 6 psi fuel pressure. Well, I've had that regulator all the way open, and I guess that kink in the fuel line has just been regulating the fuel for me. So I'm gonna put it back at 5.5 and put a longer piece of fuel line in there and see if I can get that kink out. And hopefully that's all it is. I'm gonna check the timing, and I want everything to be as bulletproof as I can for tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow I can put this thing on the water and start doing a lake test. I'm not gonna get all my hopes up too much yet, but I'd really like to do a lake test tomorrow and see how this does. But I really think that's it. That's the last few little things that I have got to do before I go fishing, and I'm hoping, if everything goes right and I don't find anything else tomorrow, I'm hoping to make a trip next weekend to see how it fishes. Like I said, I'm not gonna get my hopes up too much. All right, so I've got my new throttle bracket hooked up. Both cables lined up perfect going to the linkage on the carburetor. So that's that. Unfortunately, I'm out of time today, so I've got to close up and head out of here. That is all for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna be back here bright and early, tune the motor, get my prop back on, and get this sucker on the water. I know I need a few more things, like an oil pressure sender, my volt gauge, which should be here today. I can probably get that hooked up tomorrow. But that's it. Tomorrow's plan is to get everything buttoned up, get the boat cleaned out, get all my junk moved back into the boat so I can have some weight in it, see how it does, and tune the motor, check timing, and go run this sucker if I can find somebody that's free to go with me, because I don't want to be stranded by myself if anything happens. But that's it, guys. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, we're back. Sunday. Yesterday I had to leave early. Today is the day. I'm here pretty early today. I got to do a little buttoning up of the stuff I undid yesterday, tighten my wires back up, get all the throttle linkages and all that hooked back up, and check my timing, check my carb, replace the fuel line, and we are dragging this sucker to the lake. Today is the day. I'm not letting anything stop me. Hopefully the weather holds out. It looks a little rough outside, but we're gonna be taking it to the lake. I got a buddy of mine coming today to help me out. I'm gonna try to get another boat out there just in case anything goes wrong. I have a rescue team. Everything is lining up to drag this sucker to the lake. So I'm gonna run through everything, button everything up. When I go to test the timing and all that, I'll pick the camera back up, show you what I do. Really don't know what I'm doing with it, but we'll figure it out. And that's it. Stick around. Alright guys, so we have tested everything to the best of our abilities. Timing looks good, carburetor, everything looks good. I had to adjust my idle a little bit. So we are headed to the lake. We are gonna drop it on the water and see. I've run it with a prop back on it, and all that popping and stuff seems to have gone away. So we'll catch you at the lake and see how this goes. I've got a few guys on standby in case I break down or whatever, but I'm pretty excited. I'm ready to run it, so we'll see. Okay guys, that is it. The boat is done. Still found a few little things that that I've got to address, like my tack's not reading right. I got to get in there and adjust the little numbers on the back. But everything went as smooth as it could. I could not be happier with it. The motor is running better now that I went through that fuel line, got the kinks out. It's a whole nother boat now. You guys saw it. I'm beyond happy with it. But I believe this is going to be the final episode of building this boat. I think it's fishable. There's a few little things that's got to be replaced that's not worth recording. But I thank you guys so much for following along through this whole, what are we on, like 12 episodes now. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. I'm planning on making a trip next weekend, hopefully to fish, and I'll definitely be filming that. But please stick around. This channel is gonna go a lot farther than me tinkering with a boat. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed building it, and we'll catch you on the next video.